Okay, how is everybody doing? Hopefully this is full screen. So let's get to it, shall we? Let's start with, not China, let's start with the most dangerous area, the area where I am very much in danger, which is not India, it's Malaya. There's a huge number of ships here. It's Mersing Gambit basically. What Raider did, my opponent, is he basically lived up to his name. He raided Mersing, and he dropped roughly 22,000 troops here already in turn 1, which means I'm screwed, basically. So I have moved my naval task forces away to the south. However, I have decided to I chicken out. I actually was thinking about it for a long time whether to throw Prince of Wales and Repulse into Mersing. I decided not to. So these guys are going south. I made it a somewhat strong-ish force of destroyers. And these guys are gonna move to Mersing. They have a high threat tolerance. We'll see what they can do, if anything. So they'll move to Mersing. It will take them about, they will sail through the night and then sail through the day, and hopefully they'll catch some transports and sink them. That's the plan. Also several submarines are moving towards Mersing. We'll see what we can do. And of course we have tons of air power set to attack Mersing. This is basically weather dependent, so I am not hopeful. The weather never works for me when I want to attack, but when the opponent wants to attack, it's always clear sky. So we'll see how it goes. But maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't, but we want to hit as much as we can into Mersing right now, because we want to cut off supplies to Mersing. They already landed 21,000 troops, and it's a huge amount of crap, and they're really close to Singapore. So Singapore is it doesn't. Singapore is trying. We're trying to make fortifications. Right now, fortifications are 0. If you know your history, you know that Singapore was very much defended and ready to be defended from the side of the sea, from the ocean side. However, the British did not do anything from the land side, and they were totally surprised and shocked and defeated, because the Japanese basically took a couple of infantry divisions, put them on bicycles, and these guys basically just landed on Kota Baru and used bicycles to basically go all the way down south to Singapore, and they basically took it out, because the Singapore, the so-called fortress, was totally not a fortress. It was only a fortress from the side of the sea, not from the side of the land. It's a huge issue. We're even more screwed than historically, because they have landed basically 40-60 miles, about 40-50 miles away from us in Singapore. So actually here, we're very close. So we're screwed. We're gonna try to hit them as hard as we can right now. All these troops here, they're either gonna use the train or march towards Singapore. We'll see what we can do. These guys are gonna defend. It's not much here. There's a 22nd Australian Brigade. It's 1,000 troops here. They have 22,000 troops. So it's an issue. We'll see what we can do. So all these guys are moving towards Singapore. I think these guys are moving towards Kuantan. Okay, so we're moving here. Even though it shows up as an airplane symbol here, we don't have any here. We basically withdrew everything. We put every single air power asset we have in Singapore. We're gonna run reconnaissance on Mersing. We're gonna hit them with everything from the air, hopefully. Knock on wood. Next turn. Lots of ship task forces. We also have some small, really small fry. These are basically nothing. It's a 3-pounder Hotchkiss Mark 1. They don't even have torpedoes, but whatever. We're just gonna move everything we can into this area. Maybe they'll soak up some Betty strikes. Who knows? Lots of task forces here. Some of them are withdrawing still to Surabaya. And actually, you want to go to Surabaya and stay in Surabaya. Thank you. And we have lots of stuff here. And we're going to make some more task forces, and we're going to try to withdraw as much as we can from this area, as well as Borneo, because there's lots of scattered detachments, and they are not that strong. However, when we get them into one place, Surabaya, and the second place will be Batavia, maybe they'll combine, and we might get some military power going, because right now the old adage is true: when you defend everything, you defend nothing. So we're making task forces, we're moving ships all over the place to pick up all these troops and get them to Surabaya and Batavia. We also are using flying boats and as troop transports. They're gonna run a shuttle service basically from these bases to Surabaya and transport them that way also. So we're transporting them using our air assets also right now. Moving on to Philippines, we are fucked. Sorry about the language. Clark Field is totally foobar. Airfield runway damage is 100%. I tried to move some air assets into Clark Field and it didn't let me, and I didn't understand why for like a minute or two until I checked Clark Field because the weather was okay. And I noticed that, oh hey, airfield damage is 100%. That means that nothing can use the airfield. It's out of action completely until it's repaired. It's horrifying. However, we do have some stuff in Manila. So in Manila we do have some fighters. Roughly 20, 40... roughly 50 fighters, okay? Well, 58, so roughly 60 fighters, give or take. We have some Catalinas, which we are gonna use some search and then use torpedoes if anything gets in range here. Hopefully it won't be protected well enough, we'll see. If he makes an invasion anywhere here, our Catalinas should strike. We also are using some submarines, which survived the horrendous attack on Manila. Let me show you. These guys are not being repaired because they're on fire. They will sink. These are the ships under repair. All these submarines are out of action and they will probably die and or be captured by the enemy. It will take me several days, from 5 all the way to 19 days, to repair them. We don't know if we can hold on that long, but every submarine that we can save, we're gonna put them in Surabaya as their home port in Dutch East Indies, and then we're gonna send them all over the place, close to Japan. So it's an issue. We're gonna try to hold out as much as we can, as long as we can here. These guys, I decided to move them to Cagayan, and basically, yeah, we're gonna try to stockpile all this stuff here in Cagayan. Make a fort. The terrain is rough, so rough terrain with fortifications should give me something, some effectiveness in defense. So all these troops in Davao are basically moving all over the place. I'm not picking up the troops here using our ships, our shipborne assets. We are basically just either evacuating those ships and or we're gonna use them to pick up stuff from Borneo or Celebes. Okay. We only withdrew our flying fortresses, B-17s. They are now in Ambon. Use political points for that. And we're gonna withdraw them to Australia so that we can base them in Cairns. Probably Cairns, and do some have some air power here, which will be able to hit ports airfields, ground troops, so they don't have to be based in Port Moresby. They have huge range, so they will be able to be based in Cairns and hit enemy, whether on the ground, in the port, you know, from the Australian coast. We are also organizing some supplies to Horn Island. This is a strategic area, so we're gonna build some fortifications and move some troops there. Also, we have some troops here, not much, but we're gonna move some troops to Horn Island. We're building fortifications in Darwin, because those areas could be hit by Japan. Historically they were not, but this is a computer game and it's actually historically was possible. It was one of the avenues of Japanese aggression. They could have actually hit Australia, and then the game very much represents that, especially since Australia, they really don't have much. They really don't have much. I mean, it looks impressive, but look at the AV. AV power is 54, 49, 24, blah, blah, blah. So basically 1 or 2 division landing here will just get rid of all this crap in a few days. So we are building some fortifications. We are moving troops from the interior, and this basically from the interior and all the way from the coast. We're moving them using railroads, trains, choo-choos, all the way to Townsville, and mostly Townsville basically. I want to be able to get some stuff into Port Moresby. We do have some stuff in Port Moresby. We want to move more. Right now, Port Moresby, we only have the Empire boats, flying boats actually, and we're using them for searching. There's only like 4 of them. We moved some Catalinas, and we're going to use them as troop transports. We're evacuating troops from Lae and Salamua, and these guys, wow, are actually inland. We have to move them, so we're gonna move them to Salamaua, so we can evacuate them using our air assets. I would love to evacuate these guys. There's only 109 of them, so I probably will send a ship here to pick them up and evacuate them if the Japanese don't get here first. Rabaul, I learned my lesson. I'm actually searching instead of naval attack. So what's happening is, if we don't search and we have everything set on naval attack, what will happen is they will not discover the enemy task force ships in time, and the landing will happen and we'll just be in ground combat, and these airplanes will be useless. So what I'm doing is actually I'm searching. 20% of them are searching. There's only 4 planes, so it might make it sound like it's a huge force. But let's say one of them is searching. Okay. Let's say one of them is searching, 20% are resting, 30% are resting, and the rest are gonna naval attack. So that leaves about 2 planes to naval attack, if not 1, depending on the rounding error. So I make it sound like it's a huge force. It's not. But you know, whatever. We're using what we can. I wanted to actually evacuate them, but we can only supply transport. We cannot pack troops into this bomber, but historically we could, so F you game. Moving on. Australia, it's a mess. There's like literally like 10 airplanes in the whole continent of Australia. It's just ridiculous. They're totally not ready for combat. Nothing is here. So again, I'm just moving everything I can to this East Coast, and then we're gonna reinforce Moresby, reinforce this area. If he wants to land in the West Coast, Geraldton, Carnarvon, knock yourself out. I will defend Perth, even though our AV is laughable. I mean, we don't have any. I mean, it's not a battalion if you have 168 troops, okay, buddy? It's really it's not. It's not. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. We can move these guys, and I'll show you how many clicks it takes to move stuff here. We're gonna also make them plan for Perth, so they will have a maps, and they will be ready to defend it. So basically, once that is done, we can just click all these buttons. So now everything that's in this hex will be able to go strategic move, railroad, and then we will pack and pack. So it takes them 1 day to pack. Then they will get on. These guys take 2 days. It takes 2 days to pack because it's an engineering unit. They have lots of heavy equipment. But these are only, they will only go on train. It will take them 1 day to get on a train. And they'll just use the train to go from Kalgoorlie all the way to Perth. It will take them, a day or two to use the train, and then we will just unpack. We'll make them unpack. So there's that. These guys, there's actually an armored unit here. Yeah, they really don't have that much, do they? They have, they have what, 32, 36 ACVIP, which is like something like light tanks. Could be worse. We'll decide what we want to do with them later. Maybe move them to Perth. I like to have one area, one base where we basically defend, and the rest are, just skeleton forces. So that's Australia. There's literally like 10 airplanes or so. It's just ridiculous. They have like 4 warships here, including like 1 destroyer and some patrol gunboats. It's just, it's bad. Okay, so they need help desperately from the USA. New Zealand, not really touched. Suva and this Fiji Islands, beautiful islands. Highly recommended that you go there once in your life for vacation. We're just gonna move to Suva and build a fortress here and forget about it. I do want to standard play here. I do want to develop Noumea. Noumea is a beautiful name. It's right now a free French command. There's nothing here. They only have let me show you the troops here. For some reason they show a picture of legionnaires. These shouldn't be legionnaires. These should be like a colonial troops, but whatever. It's a free French militia, so they don't have much. We want to get some engineers here, and we are moving some engineers and some infantry unit regiment from the United States West Coast to Noumea. China is a mess. China is a mess. I will try to defend. I don't know if you can see this. It looks kind of wacky. Right. These are clear terrain. Clear terrain is undefendable by Chinese. We don't have the equipment. We don't have artillery. We need to go to rough terrain. So all this dirty looking terrain, that's my paradise. That's where we are withdrawing. That's the promised land. So we're withdrawing all we can into this area, and we're gonna try to make a coherent front. Okay, so they don't outflank us. Emphasis on the word try or trying. Okay, it's gonna be an issue. They are very much superior to us in every respect, in training, equipment, how fast they move, probably too, in everything. So it's an issue. I will try to make Stalingrad in the Pacific, aka Wenchao. We're building fortifications. They produce 80 points per day, so they don't need to be supplied. They can produce it themselves. We're moving everything that we can into Wenchao to make them a stumbling block for the Japanese. So yeah, let's make it a Stalingrad into the Pacific. That's the plan. We'll see how it works. Everything here is in trouble regarding supplies. I'm trying to build some fortifications in those places. I am not stockpiling. Well, it says it's stockpiling, but it's, I'm getting the least amount of supply here in all these bases. I want to start building forts, and it's gonna take forever because they don't have supply. They just don't have supply. It's horrendous. We're gonna see how we can do it, but we're gonna just defend. If they throw us out of a base, we're gonna withdraw. If they don't, obliterate them, we're gonna withdraw into those rough hex terrain, wooden rough, etc., and we're gonna just defend whatever we can. United States, it's December, it's winter time. From experience, I know it takes forever to build anything during wintertime on these islands, on the ocean islands, but we're gonna have to. Okay, so we're gonna pump some supply into them, make some task forces, and pump some supply into this place. Also some engineers, and we're gonna also pump some infantry unit, because right now we don't have any infantry unit. Okay, so we're gonna have one extra force of engineers and one regiment of infantry to have at least the forlorn hope of defending this place. Gonna make 2 task forces. One is already here. It's basically yeah, look at this. They call this a warship. It's not a warship. It's just crap. But they do have depth charge rack. So there's that. So it's gonna be a anti-submarine task force. Another one is coming from the coast. So just organize some stuff in San Francisco. Most of the airplanes here are training. Some of them are on ASW, anti-submarine warfare duty. From San Francisco, from San Luis Obispo, it's a great place because it's jutting out, so it covers both San Diego and here, and also San Diego has some ASW. So all of these places have some ASW. Also moved some into Dutch Harbor. I moved some Catalinas. There's only 5 of them, but hey, that's better than nothing, and they're also on anti-submarine duty. Lots of stuff in Pearl Harbor, and by lots of stuff I mean it's here. Just submarines. We are moving submarines all over, into unrestricted submarine warfare against Japan. So we're moving them to the Japanese coast, and we're gonna sink some ships, baby. That's the plan. This guy is no idea. Right, no point in that. Local minesweeping, why not? In case my devious opponent mines Pearl Harbor, I highly doubt it, but whatever, it could happen. And then we have surface combat. These guys it's called Help for Australia, and the title of this task force for a reason. We're going to Townsville or wherever there are no enemy subs. We have all these destroyers, huge endurance range. They don't need refueling. We're just gonna go to Australia, and we're gonna use them as ASW forces, and or if need arises, we're gonna combine them into a surface task force and run some interference against the Japanese transports. If they aren't protected by the carriers, which they probably will, but what if? Australia needs help desperately, and those destroyers, even ASW forces, will come in very, very handy. So there's that. I basically hit on every point already. We really don't have reinforcements. There's no signals intelligence report. Operations, we spotted some periscopes near Johnston Island, blah blah blah, whatever. It could be true, it could be not. And combat report, we know it was horrendous. It was horrendous because my submarine fleet is basically it was hit bad. So let's see what else. I am moving some stuff to Abadan. There's also some stuff here, some brigades here, 46th Indian Brigade. We are moving to Rangoon right now. We'll see how it goes. If it's probably a problem. They probably have already set up some air umbrella here, and the Betties will slaughter them. So let's go to Calcutta, and we're gonna say, okay, your home port is Calcutta. You're gonna unload, and you're gonna auto disband, and that's fine. So we will just unload it in Calcutta. I have some forces moving to Kokonada. Excuse me, no, I'm actually moving to Visakhapatnam, and those are on ships. If I can find them. Let's see. Yeah, these guys are moving to Visakhapatnam. This is the 45th and 44th Indian Brigades. I will garrison those guys in case the enemy wants to do some amphibious invasion. That will probably come later in the game, but just to be on the safe side. I am paranoid. We're gonna try to garrison, and it will be probably one brigade. The other one probably move to the front line here, and then Katak. Katak is gonna get all the odds and ends that don't require garrisons. We're gonna move to Katak here to garrison these guys. So all these bases are gonna be garrisoned. Well, yeah, all these bases are gonna be garrisoned against the sneak attacks by the Japanese. What else? I'm trying to remember if I forgot something. Well, no, we are moving troops here, building fortifications where we can, and that will do it. We'll see how the evacuation proceeds from Borneo, Sarawak, and Sumatra. Remember to make waypoints here, so these guys, these morons, don't try to evacuate. Let's say in Sibolg while going this way. I mean, whatever game. But yeah, there's a lot of guys here, and I would love to evacuate them. But it's a huge issue because, well, because there's no supply here, so we really can't evacuate them in Sabang. So we're just gonna set them to combat, I guess, and wait for the enemy to obliterate them. And the AV is actually pretty good here. It's 50, 21, and 17. That's actually, for this area of the map in this day and age, it's fantastic, considering my main bases in Surabaya have, 45, 35, 24. I mean, that will be cool. This will be these reinforcements. If we can get them and evacuate them, this will be substantial numbers of troops and combat power. So we are actually gonna move some ships here, try to sneak in, and if my enemy forgets about it, we're gonna load as quickly as we can, even though it's port 1, and evacuate what we can into Surabaya and Batavia. So yeah, right now the name of the game is evacuation from all these areas. I'm very worried about it. So anyway, I'm not even worried about Singapore. I already know we're screwed. We're screwed completely. We will not be able to build the... Oh god, look at this damage, 50% damage. We will not be able to build any fortifications here because they're too close to us. They will bomb us and prevent the fortification building. And yeah, that's that. We are gonna get screwed here. Oh, another interesting thing that my enemy did, which I kind of figuring why he did it, was he bombed the hell out of Hong Kong. And basically... 44 days repair. Yeah, I don't think we have this amount of time to do it. So you can see that a lot of these guys are under repair. We will not be able to evacuate anything, and I think he was afraid that I was going to evacuate, for example, the Kowloon Brigade, which is 117 combat power, which is a huge amount, or Winnipeg Grenadiers. These guys are worth evacuating. However, they would probably be slaughtered on the high seas anyway. Okay, anyway, there's lots of bases here, and Bettys are basically free range. I don't have any, so might as well leave them here and defend us as much as we can. And again, building fortifications not very helpful. that we can actually do this. I seriously doubt that we can actually do this. So yep, that's Hong Kong. In a few days it will be just a memory for the Allied cause. Philippines, less said about it the better. Just gonna try to defend the standard Clark Field, Manila, and then withdraw into Bataan if we can. And let's hope that the boys repair the runways so we can get some shit up to defend our airspace, because otherwise it's gonna be a short war in the Philippines. Here he landed at Vigan. So, and this is the Kirabutai. This is the main Japanese aircraft carrier force. So we know where they are. Okay, last thing I will say, and it's a military secret. Shh. Okay. We have Pearl Harbor here. We're gonna move our two task forces. One is Enterprise, one is Lexington, into Pearl Harbor. We have really crappy, let's see, Wildcat squadron here. It's a Marine squadron. I wonder if we can put them on the aircraft carrier. Probably. If not, oh well, there's only 10 planes, so it's not a huge freaking reinforcement, but you know, what if. And then we're gonna decide what to do with the carriers. I'm thinking there's New Hebrides, there's all this area, there's the Gilbert Islands. We might try to fight them here, because we know where the KB is. The problem is he might have some Bettys here, but if we get really pissed off and our morale suffers, we might organize something to hit those guys in the Marshall Islands and or the Gilbert Islands, and we'll see what we can do here. They might be organizing invasion of Tarawa, and then because Tarawa is well, it's not that important, but he might be doing it. So we'll see what we can do with the carriers. I'm thinking of where to use the carriers already, and it's only December 8, 1941. Two tricks that I did. The carriers, actually, because I decided the submarines are a huge issue. So the Devastators, instead of torpedoes, are going to use bombs. We're going to get them at 1,000 feet. And they're going to be ASW. They're going to be anti-submarine warfare. They're going to keep the submarine heads down. I know from sad experience. I played against Raider. I played Guadalcanal. And I made some videos, but I didn't want to upload them because it was pretty boring. Most of the turns were just waiting. And only the last 3 turns there was like action. 3 to 4 turns, so it was pretty boring. But I learned that submarines are very dangerous, because I got 2 torpedoes into Lexington in that game, and it sunk. It sunk. There was some kind of a, I don't know, explosion, critical hit, whatever, but it sunk. It had lots of destroyers as a screen, and it didn't help at all. So, you know, anything I can do to do ASW to save my carriers. Right now my torpedoes are useless. Those Devastators are useless. So get them as ASW. Get them as ASW. Anti-submarine warfare. So there's that. And I wanted to say something else. Crap, I just forgot about my second trick. Oh yeah. Wake Island, babies. These guys cannot search. Okay, they're Wildcats. I have them both on cap and naval attack. But they cannot search. However, Catalinas can search. Okay, so I have Catalinas set on naval attack using bombs at 1,000 feet. So they will actually discover stuff, and they will attack them on their own. Because I discovered in my previous game versus the computer, if I have only the Wildcats here, what happens is the enemy can land unimpeded, even if they're set on naval attack, because we cannot search here. There is no search. Okay, so we needed something to search this area, so we can then the airplanes that found the enemy, they can guide them using, you know, just radio. Hey guys, there's enemy here. Let's pump the crap out of them, and then the Wildcats can get into action and do some naval attack. Okay. So we have 40% cap, 30% rest, and that leaves 30% for naval attack. We'll see what happens. Moving some submarines here to Wake, also to protect it, and you know, maybe get a torpedo going or two into anything that tries to attack Wake Island. So that's it. That's what we're gonna do. That's the plan. I'm sticking to it. See you next video, which we'll both see how this plan stacks up against the enemy, and we'll see what he did. And you remember, it's we go game. It's not I go, my turn, and then he goes his turn. No, it's simultaneous turn. Okay, it's a simultaneous action. So we have phases, night phase, daytime phase, and I think it moves two times per turn, once during nighttime and once during daytime. So love this game, love it because of the WeGo system. I love it. It's fantastic. I think all the war games on the computer, strategic war games, must be WeGo. It's the Yugo system is basically from board games, and it's great in board games, because it has to be that way. But on a computer, it must be WeGo. So anyway, I prattled. It's over. I told you everything, to all the top secret plans. You guys are my general staff. Give me some ideas, give me some opinions, tell me what I'm doing wrong. If there's enough space in the comment section, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Hopefully we can work out something, and we'll see next turn what happens. Take care. Bye-bye.